we're going to be learning how to do a simple rig. Now when I say simple rig, I don't mean like the rig that we did in the previous project. This is going to be a rig for a bipedal character, and it's going to use joints. So we're going to be able to do a lot of things that we weren't able to do with just nonlinear deformers. But before we even look at our character and start laying down joints, let's see what a good rig is. A good rig is as simple as possible. Now this is going to depend on the needs of your project. Some projects you're going to need a very simple rig because you're just going to need it for a couple of shots and then you're done. Some projects, if it's for a feature film, you might need a rig that's able to perform multiple actions, and you might be developing that rig for the entire production. A good rig should follow logical patterns. The shapes that we choose for the controls should make sense. Where we put the controls, how we lay them out, and naming conventions. A good rig makes things easy for the animator. The animator shouldn't have to look for a tool. They should know exactly how a control works. A good rig is fast to animate. There should be no lag when you're changing attributes. A good rig should be able to be adjusted with minimal side effects. That means if you have to add extra controls later on, you should be able to add those in, and any animation that had already been created should be able to be maintained. So we're going to add the joints now. So when we use the joints, we have animation here, and we use the joint tool here. When I'm looking, I'm going to start off with the back and the neck and the head. And I'm going to begin in the side view, because when I create a joint chain like this, you'll see here are the joints that it automatically aligns with the ZY axis in the front view. And that's what I want, because in my channel box, each one of these child chains, child joints, this is the parent, and we're going to call this root, but each one of these should have only one value in the translates. And this has to do with the root orientations. Now, the root orientations are how things rotate. So you'll see here that right now the root orientation, or the joint orientations, are Z pointing up, X to the left and right, horizontal, and Y is left and right, horizontal, up, Y. Now, when we get to this last chain, you'll see that X is pointed in that direction. So what we'll do for the last chain in our joint chain is we're going to go down, and our rotation is going to be 0, 0, 0, but I'm going to do my joint orientations to 0, 0, 0, and what that does is it makes my XYZ follow my XYZ according to the, makes this XYZ the same as this one, because I don't want any changes in the joint orientations. Alright? Now, there is another thing that you can do, which is you can go to the orient joint tool right here, and I have secondary axis world orientation set to Z, primary axis is X, and then secondary axis set to Y. And I say apply, And since everything was along those axes already, you're not going to see much of a difference. But I'll show you what was happening. When we orient our joints, and let's go in here and let's go like this, you'll see that, again, that XYZ follows a specific rotation orientation pattern. But what happens if I go in here and move this like that? This one, look at this, it's not pointing towards my joint anymore, it's pointing out. And that means when I rotate, it's going to rotate in an offset. So what I can do is I can use the orient joint option right here to reorient that so it goes in the right direction. So now my Z points in that direction. Alright? What I mean by Z, I mean my Z rotation. So that automatically put it in the right direction again. Okay? Now when I want to move a joint, I never ever want to put any values in my rotations. My rotations for joints need to be 0. Alright? So if I need to move again, let's say I want to move it again, but last time when I moved it like this, it moved this right here. I can also move the pivot point. So in Mac I press D. I think in PC it was insert. It's been a while since I did it in PC. So I can move that, and you'll notice that the child here didn't move. Now my rotations are broken again right here. So what I need to do is I need to go orient joints, and that fixes the orientation. And you'll see that you see that little red line. That little red line, that's my X translate axis, and it's pointing down towards there. Now this one, because we oriented later on, we want to go in here and 0 and 0, and now it's fixed. Alright. So this one, we fixed the joint orientation already. So we've got our root, our back 1, and let's just rename this. Now I'm going to call this root. Here I have back 1, back 2, and back 3. Okay, this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select each one of these, and I'm going to use my comment rename script that I got from Creative Crash, and I'm going to call it back. And I want no padding. Maya doesn't like padding. And start at 1, and it's going to say now back 1, back 2, back 3. And then I'm going to go neck, and now I have head 1 and head 2. So I'm going to go in here, head 1, head 2. Okay? Now, the next thing I'm going to do is my leg. I'm going to go here, and I'm looking at this. If you notice, where do I put my joints? I put them close to the spans of geometry, right? This is where my line is. This is where my line is. So I put it here where the leg meets the body. I put it right where the knee is, right where the ankle is. I'm going to have a heel. I'm going to have a toe and another toe. Okay? The heel, a toe, and another toe. So this looks great from the side, but let's see what's actually happening. You'll see that over here it's in the middle. So I'm going to have to move that over. Okay? And again, I'm going to move it over and move it over. Okay, so now we do this, and you'll see that my joint orientations are not bad. But they're a little bit off. This one now points more straight. It doesn't actually point towards this other joint.
So again, I go to my orient joint and make sure X, Y, Z, orient, and now it follows that. It follows it. Okay? And now my joint orientations, of course this one isn't correct, so I go in here and I zero out my orientations. Okay, I'm only going to do one side. I'm going to be able to use Maya to add another joint over on the other side. So again, let's label these. I'm going to call this leg, knee, ankle, heel, and then ball and toe. Okay? So